Thank you, Jane, for taking time today to answer the fourth question in our series on dyscalculia. The question is, why can a person do a sum correctly one day and feel it is new to them on the following day?
Well, it's certainly common for many learners to appear to have forgotten something that they knew before. So in order to understand this better, it helps to think about how memory works in the process. Immediate recall can happen if, for example, one is told a telephone number, and without paper and pencil, it might be recalled for a few moments with rehearsal. Repeating the number, it might be remembered for a bit longer. This working memory can be used while calculating. Things can also be remembered using short-term memory, as in holding something in mind for a little while. The phrase use it or lose it comes to mind in this example. In order to transfer new learning into longer-term memory, it's necessary to recall the item in a series of spaced intervals. In other words, the practice effect. So some pupils may really have a weak auditory memory. They may not remember the sum the next day, or indeed be able to recognize a similar sum the next day. It can be helpful to practice similar sums and then introduce one or more that are not similar. For example, those that require applying the bonds of 10 and then including one that doesn't, hoping that they'll be able to discriminate between different types of questions. So a way of making the learning lesson more memorable is to make it multisensory. So one could talk about it, see it, use all the senses. Even smell could be used, using cheese or orange pieces when working perhaps with fractions. Short mantras help to cement a process using a repetitive phrase, so that perhaps the pupil might use that the next day to cue themselves into what to do again. So for example, in the case of 7 plus what equals 10, they might repeat, what does 7 need to make 10? And then what does 3 need to make 10, for example? Instead of trying to learn rather forgettable rules to solve fraction additions, for example, they could be made more memorable if paper folding, pieces of A4 papers used each time to create the equal size parts by seeing, touching and talking as the folding happens. So if they're shown the pieces of paper the next day, it might trigger the memory as well. So we could say the past is history sometimes. The past is history, tomorrow a mystery. May well sum up what it's like to teach a pupil with memory vulnerabilities of all kinds. Hope that helps.
Thank you very much, Jane.